Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Soul Notes by Paris. If you're just joining, this is my YouTube page, and this is where I will be explaining what Soul Notes by Paris is, explaining about myself. Like, share, and subscribe. I promise you, if you are coming here, you will not be let down. So let's get into it. This is unedited, all of that. So I want to talk about my journey and how I got here. So I want to say about 10 years ago, I was in the shower one day and I'm just thinking, and I hear a voice, a woman's voice, and I'm like, okay, who's this? And so I just began to talk, and I'm like, I think my first question was just like, will I get this house? Like, is this house mine? Like, is this house mine? And so I hear a woman's voice say, yes, this is your house. And at first I'm like, okay, wait, is that me answering myself? Or am I really hearing somebody say, yes, that's your house? And so to realize if it was me or not, I was like, okay, well, I talk a little bit faster. This lady sounds older and she sounds a lot slow. She talks a lot slower than I do. So I was like, okay, this can't be me answering myself. So I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm just like, okay. So every so often I would get in the shower, I would start asking questions, and then I would hear a woman's voice answering my questions. So then I was like, okay, what is your name? And she told me her name. So I'm like, okay, I'm not tripping. I'm like, okay. And so the answers that she would answer ended up, the question she answered ended up being coming to fruition. And I'm like, okay, wow, like, I'm not tripping. I ask questions in the shower and then I hear an answer. So I'm like, okay. So fast forward maybe like 3 or 4 years after that, I'm in the shower one day and I randomly hear a man's voice from New Orleans, because he had a very thick accent, and I can always tell when I hear someone from New Orleans. And so I'm like, what in the world? And he's like, oh, you can hear me. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, he was just so excited. He was like, oh my goodness, okay. I was in jail and they killed me. I'm like, whoa, hold up. First of all, I don't know any man from New Orleans, let alone I don't know a man from New Orleans who was in jail. So I'm like, what? I'm like, oh man, I am tripping. I'm like, yo, I am bugging out. He's like, no, you can hear me. So then he's like reading off a jail cell number. So I write it on my shower door, but I'm like, I don't know who you are. I wrote it down, but I'm like, okay, I'm like, why are you telling me this? And so he's talking so fast. And again, I'm thinking I'm tripping. I'm like, who is this? I'm like, how can I hear the voice so clear? So then I'm just like, I just hurried up, washed up, got out the shower, because I'm like, why am I able to hear this? So that was the very first time I heard someone else's voice. And that person, I didn't know who they were. All I know is they was excited that I was able to hear them. And I was just like, okay, that was weird. Okay. So at this point, I'm not thinking I can hear people who crossed over. At that point, I'm just thinking, okay, something's wrong. You sound a little out there. And so I want to say maybe months go by, and I hear a old friend's father who passed tell me, I need you to call them. Now, I hear his voice, because I know his voice, and I was just like, what? And he was like, I need you to call them. And at the time, I was not talking to them, and so I said, no, I'm not calling. And then that was it. They didn't push forward. Oh, he did say, he was like, they need you. I need you to call them. But again, I wasn't talking to this person. And and I was just like, okay, you want me to call them and tell them that I'm in the shower and I heard your father tell me to call you? I was like, that don't sound right. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. So that was person number 2. This is a person I know who has crossed over. Person number 3, let's say again this happens months later. Person number 3 is a man who I used to work with, and he passed like maybe like 2 years after me working there. And so I hear his voice because he's an older man. Like I think he was like maybe in his 50s, and he had a really thick Southern accent. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I hear you. Yes. And again, he's excited. He's like, oh, you can hear me. He's like, I need you to tell my wife something. I need you to tell her it's okay for her to date. And I want her, to, enjoy her life. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how can I hear you? And again, this is not people that I, like, was thinking about earlier in the day. Like, thinking about, like, I'm just in the shower and just randomly hear their voice. And so I was just like, okay, that's very strange. So I'm like, okay. At this point, I'm like, okay, how do I know it's really you? So, and I said, how do I know it's really not you? And these are not my thoughts that I'm thinking on my own. So he told me a validation. He was like, if you tell my wife this, she would know that it's me, because she would know that it's something that I would say to her and that nobody else knows. So what he told me as a validation was very graphic. And I said, no, if I ever find your wife, which I don't know how to get in contact with her, I'm not telling her that. He was like, you have to tell her that. You have to tell her that. Like, she'll know it's me. And I'm like, but that's so, like, I don't want to, I'm not comfortable saying that. So then he was like, but that's the validation. Like, nobody else would know I say that. And I was just like, okay. It's like, if I ever find her, which I tried to, like, search his name on Facebook or look. No, I did end up finding, I think, the wife's daughter, and I sent a message, but it was kind of weird. It was like, hey, I believe I heard your stepdad talking to me. It was weird. So, but they didn't, I never got a response. So I don't know if they ever read it. I don't know if she ever got the message. So yeah. So those were times in the shower when I began to really hear them. And I'm like, okay. Now, these were just people who would just come. I wouldn't think about them ahead of time. These were just people, I guess, at the time I was open enough or quiet enough to hear them. And so they came, said their message, or said whatever they had to say, and then that was that. And so So then there was another time. So those were like 3 times I heard it in the shower. And then I heard a celebrity. At the time, I can't remember his name, but he said he was like a child star, and he had like just passed. I forgot the person's name, but then he explained himself, and then he didn't say much. He just said, I forgot I don't even remember what he said, but I remember him coming to me, and then me Googling, like, it was like somebody from Nickelodeon, I think, who had passed. I want to say he was kind of young. He wasn't old. Yeah, so those were like the first 4 people who came to me in the shower. And then I had a classmate who came to me in a car. I'm just driving, and I hear, you can hear me. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, hi. Yeah, I can hear you. And so that, let's say that was like my 4th time. And then like the 5th time, I happened to look at somebody's obituary. I was like, let me see if I look at a picture, I can, begin to hear them. And so I looked at his obituary picture, and I began to hear him. I was like, okay. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I need some kind of validation. So the validation he gave me, I ended up asking the person, and they confirmed. They was like, how did you know that? I'm like, he basically said his validation was he would drink orange juice all the time. Like, that was his drink, like, all the time, orange juice. So when I asked the person, they said yes, like, he drank it all the time. Like, it's all he drank was orange juice. So I was like, oh, and I have no way of knowing that. I didn't know them personally like that. And so then I was like, okay. Like, so then as the years go on, it's becoming like, I wouldn't say louder, but just I'm able to hear it clearer, speak longer to them, ask questions. And so that's my beginning stages of how this all came about. And so because it became like so often, and I would help people that I know whose loved one has crossed, and tell them like, hey, your dad said this, or your mom feels this way, or I was even able to, like, this is how they passed, like, they passed away this way. The reports might say one thing, but this is what they're showing me how they really passed. And so then I started Soul Notes by Paris. And what that is you ask a question. I have different options, and you can, like, for example, you could ask a question, tell me, who the person is that you would like to speak to or hear from, and then I channel them, and then I email you. I write down what I hear. I write down validations. Now sometimes with the validations, it might not be something that you think would be a validation. Sometimes it's like plain as day, like you'll get it like instantly. And then sometimes you might have to sit there and think for a little bit and be like, oh, okay, like that's why they said that. And so I love what I do. I like having the satisfaction of people being like, wow, like you really helped me. I really needed to hear that from this loved one. Like, I missed them so much. it's like I'm able to talk to them again. And so that's what I offer. I also offer past life readings. So if you ever want to know like who you might have been in a past life, I'm able to do that. Now, again, with past life readings, let's say you can have had many lives, and then, and I speak of one of many, those, it could be something that you resonate with, right away, like in your present day life. Be like, okay, I understand like why I'm this way, because it's some things you may be holding on from a past life, where you come over and you carry it in this life. I do soul maps, meaning you in your past life with like two other people. So like for me, like one of my children were my father in a past life. And when I realized that, I was like, wow, like that really makes sense. I'm like, he's small, but our relationship definitely feels that way. Like he definitely talks to me as if he could have been my father. And I was just like, okay, that makes so much sense. So, you get to see the dynamic of how it relates to this lifetime. So I just want to welcome you all. If your spirit is open and this is something that you feel called to do or even listen to or learn from, I'm here. And so thank you for watching. I know you're going to enjoy this channel. I'm going to be giving lots of, helpful tips. If you're someone who is just starting off in your journey and you're like, hey, like I can interpret these dreams, or I can feel this, or, let's talk about it. Like I'm here. And yeah, if you're ready and open to spirituality and what am I trying to say? I don't know. But this is me, raw and unedited. So I hope you enjoy, and let's do this. Like if you want a booking, my link is going to be below. And so I'll put it there in the description. And you can go check it out, and I appreciate it. Like, follow, and subscribe to Paris Notes. I done said the wrong thing. Soul Notes by Paris. Thank you.